Hey everybody, Big Z. It's cool out here. I just got done doing our training tonight, and I'm up here in Michigan. I got some guys that I roll with, and we put the mats outside tonight, and it was just so freaking nice. But anyway, it's like 87 back home. It's 67 here, so it's like kind of chilly to me. I want to give a quick shout out and a thanks to Valerie for all the comments and sharing my channel, and Nathan, thank you for the comments, and Polly, that was really nice what you wrote this morning. Thank you so much. And everybody else is coming over. It's really a nice surprise when you've been shadow banned the whole time. I can't even find my own channel. I can't even go into my channel unless I have a link to get to it. I've been so blocked. I mean, they've taken all my subs twice and left me with like one. And we build back up, and it's just, they're asses. Anyway, a couple things I want to talk about. I want to talk about option C. And option C has become a very important part of what I apply my life to now in this whole thing of learning. I heard a comment today. It's really powerful. I don't know the philosopher. It was I don't know if he was a Neoplatonist or Platonist or who it was, but someone, wasn't Socrates. Maybe you guys are Greek historians. You guys know this stuff. It is said that the best way to predict your future is to just create it. And it really like stopped me. It was like, as creators, we really do have the power to create our world and our realm, done from the inside out. So I think about the things that I want to see have accomplished. I'm just going to create them, and knowing that you have the power to do that. And how do we get the power? We reconnect back up with the monad and the pleroma, and we're in the stereoma, in the lower heavenly realms. And anyway, we'll talk about that. Option C. I started applying this thing called option C a couple of years ago. Back when I'm a flat Earth guy, so back when we were promoting, we were going through everything, and that's what got me targeted so bad. By the way, my war I had with NASA down there. One of the things. But when I was growing up in school, we were taught, they put that stupid globe in your classroom and they tell you this is what we live on, and you're like, really? And they're like, well, what about the people in Australia? Are they upside down? Yes, they live. That's why it's called down under, because they're upside down. So boats travel upside down. Birds fly upside down. Yes. And airplanes fly upside down. That's right. Yes. Well, and you're thinking, what the fuck? And then while you're trying to grapple with this, they give you option B. That's option A. Well, if it's not the ball Earth, it's this ship going off the side of this waterfall thing, because where does the water go? So, and you think as a child, you're like, well, if that doesn't work, I guess it's the ball Earth. But you never really accept it. It's like, it's just stupid. Now, if they take that same child and said, but we have option C, I guarantee you, if you said, okay, here's option C. We live in a realm. It's a flat realm that we live in, and it's an ice wall that surrounds everything. It's under a dome, and here's how the mechanics work, and the sun, the moon, the stars, and everything else, and we're in this thing. And you'd be like, well, it's fucking obvious it's option C, because water's always flat, and you can get into the whole thing. They don't give you option C. The same way growing up in a Christian world that we're in, we're told that either this dude Yahweh, this God of the Bible, and this dude Jesus is it. If it's not him in the creation thing, well, then it's just a big bang, and we're all a big accident. And you think, well, that can't be it, because it's obvious there's an intelligent design to all this stuff. So I guess we go with option B. Except they don't give you option C. If they gave you option C, that yes, we're in a world that was created by an asshole called Yahweh. He's an evil, cocksucking bastard, and there's a higher realm that's above us, where there is, what do we call it up there? Incorruptibility and so forth. It's a lower realm that we got trapped in, and we're stuck here, and the God of this world is a complete fucking douchebag psychopath, and we're trapped in this thing. You would say, oh, well, that explains why all the fucking crap goes on here. So it's damn obvious it's option C. But they never give us that option, do they? And later, is like in my case, when it was 2.5 years ago, when my wife and I were devout Christians, and we'd just been together 6 months, and we're praying together every day. We're doing our marriage counseling every day. We're studying the Bible every day. We go by a little lake that, you know, kind of like this one, but down there, and we study our scriptures and our spiritual warfare. And we got fucking slaughtered. I mean, we got ripped apart by an ex-husband who was a master Freemason, and his Freemason buddies, who just happened to also be lieutenant colonels in the army and the local judges and police and everyone. And I'm the outsider moving in there. And then I come and find out that my wife, I'm going to tell the whole story sometime. Her father was in the German Übermensch project, that's a super soldier, in the army, put her daughter in the CIA's MK Ultra program so he can make fuckloads of money. He was a very wealthy man. And they move her from MK Ultra into Monarch, where she goes to Disney World and works as the woman who played Cinderella all those years. That's her, with the long, beautiful hair and the amazing voice. And so she was trained MK Ultra Monarch, both alpha and beta programming she went through, and tried to get out of this her whole life. And you know how Monarch, it's a cradle to grave program for 3 generations. So they found out who I was, and real fast they had to put an end to it. And we got slaughtered, and like a literally bomb went off in our lives. It's like, I tell people, it's like being in a car crash. One minute you're going down the road and everything's fine, and somebody out of nowhere fucking T-bones you. You're thrown one way, she's thrown the other. You're sent to hospitals different. I don't know if she's alive. She doesn't know if I'm alive. And a few days later, you go to her room and she's lost her memory and she doesn't know who you are and she thinks you're Satan and screams, "Get out of here." This woman who you have a literally soul bond with, and you come to find out that they've been hitting her because they all work for Lockheed Martin. I'm gonna go ahead and say it, fuck it. They all work for Lockheed Martin, which is the biggest defense contractor in the world here in Central Florida, or down there in Central Florida where I live. And she's in a TI program just like I was, and they are literally testing every fucking mind control weapon that they can come up with on her. And they cooked her. And I make the point, and we'll do this in a following video when I run the whole story down, but they really murdered her. And then to find out they were drugging and raping her. And the whole time, I'm praying to Jesus as Jesus help us. What a fucking joke, huh? Yeah, power. There's power, wonder-working power in the blood. Fuck you. You know, and after this whole thing went down, I don't explain to you everybody why I do what I do. This whole thing went down. I about had a nervous breakdown. I was in shock. It killed me. And I continued to pray, and I just got to the point that one day, during all the shit that was going on, it finally hit me. I took my King James Bible and I ripped that fucker apart. I threw it against the wall. I tore this thing into a billion pieces. And then I felt guilty afterwards for even doing that. But it finally hit me. This fucker is an asshole. And then I looked and found the Nag Hammadi scriptures and found the Gnostic teachings and the Cathars and all these people we call heathens and pagans and Aryans that were here before us, and who the originals were. And I had to go through a long period of deconstruction to realize this thing I believed in my whole life, where I'm 4 generations or 5 generations deep in master masons and pastors, all Baptist preachers, and both sides all the way around me in my families, to figure this thing out. It's a big fucking fraud. And when I did that, my first wife and her daughter, I raised since age 5, she was just the love of my life, completely shunned me, and I haven't spoken to any of them in 5 years. Will not speak a word to me, because I walked away from that whole fucking religious crap, the church. And then we find out that this molestation shit's going on in the mega church that I was in. And there's a lot. There's a long story how I got to where I am here. But I was somebody who had a very strong faith and belief in this Jesus horseshit story. And 2 things that I think that make you mad in life: when someone lies to you and when someone lies about you. And I got the double in that, with that. And you get pissed off when everything that you've ever believed and trusted in is a lie. And I stay in that state. So my whole thing is here. We've been trying to find remedy, the way to get her out. I was threatened, told if I didn't leave, they came into my home and said if I didn't leave within 24 hours, they would arrest me for whatever they wanted. And if that wasn't bad enough, if I didn't leave within 24 hours, I just been married. That we'll have her committed what's it called, 1050 or 5150, and we'll put her in an institution, and we'll have some fat fucking orderly changing her diaper every night and having his way with her. If you don't leave. And right then I realized they meant what they were saying. I teach my students something when it comes to fighting, because I train a lot of bodyguards and they go all over the world. And the first thing you have to know when you fight is what ground you're on. There's physical ground. You're not going to throw somebody in the ground in judo and you shimano them onto a piece of concrete or pavement. You'll kill them. So you don't want to, you be careful of the ground you're on. Make sure you're on some soft surface if you're going to take someone down. But what's more important is the legal ground that you're on. If you're on your property, have at it. If you're on common property, meaning the street, the curb, which is common property, pretty much have at it. But if you're on their property and they're on their deal, you might want to back off and fight it another day. Because even if you win and you whoop their asses, the victory is going to be pure Pyrrhic, and it's going to cost you more than if you had just walked away and fought another day. So I took steps back and back and back and back, and learning how this whole thing with them works, and then coming to find out the real pisser is that the whole time I think I'm invincible because I'm a Christian, and you have all power and you can tread upon serpents and scorpions and no weapon formed against you is going to prosper, and you go through Ephesians 6:12 and you up and down this thing and you do this and put on the whole armor of God, which is a fucking joke. You're going to get your ass handed to you. So I had to deconstruct from all that, then reconstruct to it, learn who the higher power is, learn how to connect up to it, break and renounce all this shit in your life, and then go back after them. And so my life is dedicated to two things. One, finding remedy for her. And I know when I find remedy for her, I find remedy for everything. Because it's just one. It's like I had a real bad health issue one time. We didn't know if it was cancer or not. It was about 10 years ago. And I thought I was going to die. And we took me to the Gerson Institute. And it has the highest cancer cure rate in the world. And they have to take you to Mexico because they pump a lot of vitamin C in you, and that's illegal in the U.S. But Charlotte Gerson, who passed away a couple years ago, it was Max Gerson's daughter, said something that's one of the most profound things you're ever going to hear. She said, cancer, leukemia, she names all these diseases. She goes, there's really only one disease, and there's only one cure. The same cure that cures one disease cures them all. And that was the protocol that she had. And so I learned in this thing, if I find the remedy for her, my wife, I find the remedy for everything. And so my purpose of everything that I do is to find remedy. That's to save these kids and our kids and our children who are being raped by these men, where we've got close to 80% of all the girls, we go over this every video, being molested by their daddy, stepdaddy, father figure by the time they're 18. Now it's 1 in 4 boys by 16. And they're going to drop the age of consent down to 13. Have you heard this? Maybe even as low as 9. So I dedicated myself. It's not a choice I have. You're finding remedy in two things. Making sure that these fuckers go to prison, and then we carry them after they leave this world, because we extradite them. We're going to talk about that in an upcoming video. We're going to extradite them out of here, and they're going right to the fucking underworld, where Mother Cersei is going to castrate their ass and chop their dick and balls off, and they're going to hand them over to the muses, where they're going to whip their asses, and then they're going to give them to Persephone and Hades down there, and they can live out their life down there licking each other's taint skins. I don't care what they do. But we're going to make sure they not only do they don't go back to the high realm, they don't come back and reincarnate here either and pick up where they left off, like so many of them do. And that's why they got such a power block now. A lot to discuss, but I wanted to get that out there. I do this because I have someone in my life I love and care about, and it's not just her. She represents to me everyone that's being abused by this thing, and all the children and the women out there that are suffering, trying to understand what the fuck happened to them, why daddy came and did this to me and not my sister, or how come the other girls at school didn't have this happen to them. And the shit's gonna stop. So Two things that drive me every day is one, remedy for her, and punishment for these fucking Masons, because it still always comes down to that. And that was the other thing I wanted to say. So this week I met with a pastoral couple from Central Florida, and I was shocked that they knew as much as they did. We had a long talk, but I also met with a woman who was head of like child services for Cook County in Illinois, Chicago. And I ended up in her home this week. It's just unbelievable. And so I'm talking to her like I do everyone, same conversations. And I said, you know, I base mine on the 3 M's. These perps are in the military, the masonry, and in the ministry. And they're the main perpetrators. And she said to me, you're wrong. I said, what do you mean I'm wrong? She goes, well, I think you're wrong. I said, what part? She goes, the main perpetrators. I said, they're not one of the 3. She said, well, from what I saw in 37 years, the main perpetrators are the police and the judges. Interesting. Yeah. It's all Masonic. Anyway, I also met with, well, I shouldn't say, I got in somebody's ass pretty bad this week. And I make sure that I'm taking these fuckers to the underworld. That's all I gotta say. We're gonna bust them. We're gonna fucking bust their shit wide open. Where we at? 16 minutes? All right, I'm gonna cut this thing off. Again, thanks for being on the channel. Remedy is a big thing for me, and I got some pretty cool ideas. I think tomorrow I'll be on Tony Sayer's channel. We're doing an interview, I think at 3:30 tomorrow. I don't know when he'll post it, but it should be very interesting. 2002, real briefly, I was in a violent surfing accident. I died, broke my neck, and drowned. So I had an NDE experience, which has led me to where I am today with everything. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow. So it should be interesting. Tony's an awesome guy, and that'll be cool. But anyway, love everybody. I'm out, and I'll see you soon. Again, thanks everyone for the comments and subbing. It means a lot. So love you all. I'm out.